For those of you who don't know, my name is Alyssa, and this is Declan. He's going to be our comedic relief for today. And Indiana just announced that all of our schools are closed until May 1st, I believe, and then they're going to reassess. So I actually got a call from one of my former coworkers, and she kind of asked me just for some advice on how to do kindergarten virtually. And I thought about it and realized she's probably not the only one who has this question. So I thought I would hop on here and share some best practices. This is not super polished. I just tried to throw it together. I thought it was more important to be done than perfect. And this little helper here is probably going to make things interesting. So I just put together how I would manage e-learning for tiny humans, lower elementary kiddos. I am a kindergarten teacher. I have no. I've actually been a kindergarten teacher online for about 9 years. I've done kindergarten. I've ventured up to some older grades. I currently teach a hybrid school, so that means that my kiddos learn online at home for 3 days a week, and then they come to school face-to-face for Thursday and Friday. And basically, I just want to share some best practices. My kiddos are set up to learn at home on our platform, so we kind of have all the tools and everything that we need to do this. But I'm aware most of you don't, and some of you, your kiddos, your students might not even have the resources that they actually need to do this. So I thought I would hop on here really quickly. He doesn't have on pants. Sorry about that. That's not very professional. And I would share what I would do if I was in the situation, just having experience teaching virtually. So these are all free, and they'll take some creativity on your own, but I think you guys can do this. And if you have any questions, please let me know, because I've been using these platforms for a while. So this is how I would manage e-learning for tiny humans. And the first thing I would do is I would flip my classroom, or just do a modified flip version. So a lot of people think flipped is you have to provide all this online instruction and make all these fancy videos. And as you're seeing, the platform that I'm using today to make what you're watching is actually straight in PowerPoint. So I think that a good rule of thumb for flipped videos is the student's age plus 2 is the maximum amount of time. I've been to a few flipped classroom webinars, and that's kind of what they suggest as the maximum time that you make an instructional video. Because, let's face it, tiny humans are not going to sit and stare at their computers for that long. And then you add the added challenge that, you know, things might be panicky at home. They've not done this before. Their video games are right behind them. So start with shorter ones and then maybe work your way up. And ask for parent feedback often, too, because as amazing as your lesson is, you're never going to see the student engagement on the other end. So just so you know, if you have that one mom that's amazing, maybe ask her to send you some quick feedback, or even a survey at the end of the first week before you move on to the next one is what I would suggest. So I'm going to give this to him. Here you go. And so what you can do is you can make a short PowerPoint and deliver kind of like a mini lesson. Or the friend I talked to today said that they were encouraged to send out the packets, which I think has been a general rule of thumb because nobody's had time to assess their classes and see what technologies or resources they do have at home. And in the stress of everything that's happening, this might not be the best time to do it either. So what you could do is make a little PowerPoint with whatever you're teaching for that day. If it's subtraction, math, put a sample anchor chart up there, some learning posters, some keywords. You know, maybe just teach them for 3 minutes what the main idea of the lesson is, what you would, you know, give live instruction for to your students, and then encourage them to go to the packet to try it for the day with their learning coach. I also think of, we've all seen the memes about Common Core math, about how their homeschool teacher is going to teach them to carry the one and stuff. We've got to remember that we learn math very differently. We've heard all the complaints. So if you give that instruction, you might even be refreshing their parents at home or whoever's working with them. Parents is a general term. You know how that goes. But whoever's working with them on their learning, and kind of teach them how you want the students to learn as well, too. And then if they struggle, they can come back to the video. And of course, you're going to have families who can't watch those videos, and they can just do those learnings on their own. But I think in today's society, the parents might have a phone, and even if they don't have data to watch every recording you send, if you just send one or two a day and it's a subject that they're struggling on, then they'll know that resource is there. So all I did to start this is at the top of my PowerPoint, and I'm sorry, I don't know what edition that this feature starts at, but I know that you can record for most editions, but as far as the video too, so they can see your face, I just clicked record slideshow, and down here at the bottom, my picture popped up. Always try to be mindful, maybe not put anything in this small corner right here because your picture will cover it up if you want them to see you. You can also just add the feature of just microphone if you're not camera ready and enjoying being in your pajamas, because that's okay too. Then afterwards, when I go to save my PowerPoint, I click the option on the drop-down list as an MP4, and then I can save it as a video and just upload it to YouTube. And YouTube, the way that works too, is you can make it public to everyone, or you can make it private, and only people who have that link can see it. So if you don't want to become a YouTube star and that wasn't in your cards, you can just, only your students who get the direct link to the video can watch it. So that's a nice feature as well. You cannot get my keyboard. Sorry, I already typed everything I have to say. Another option is Flipgrid, and it is it's a website, so you don't have to download any apps on a phone or a tablet. And basically for Flipgrid, students can record their answers to a question. So if it's important to you to hear student voice, if you're teaching first graders or kindergartners who maybe can't write responses to every question you ask, this is a great way to kind of gear it down to those students. And the best part about Flipgrid is they can see each other's answers, and they can see get to see their classmates. So you could even use that as like a morning meeting. Just check in, share if you do zones of regulation. Share what zone you're in. How are you feeling about things? Or just say hello to your classmates that you really missed. Those are options as well too. So I really like Flipgrid. I typically don't use it until the last quarter because it's a lot of technology. It's not really difficult, but when you're taking on technology for the first time, maybe that's just something you wait on. You are a hot mess, child. All right. Anyways, this is what Flipgrid looks like. So it's really simple to set up. I set it up with my Google login. There's an option where they can use their Google or Microsoft logins to log into Flipgrid. There's also an option for you to make it public to anyone. And here I can add like a picture. If it's an art lesson or a history lesson, tell me who this person is or what you think about this picture. You could even put a picture of a cover of a book. What predictions do you make about our story based on this picture? Mine is really, it is not a rigorous question at all. I just want to know what spring looks like, what you wear, what's the weather like, because this was the first time my kiddos will be doing it. So I want to ease them into it, and then moving forward, it'll be a constructed response or something to our story or explain your math answer, whatever it may be. So this is not your best side. Gosh, I'm telling you. So this is a great option, and you could do those daily or just weekly. Make them optional if your students don't have access. I'm going to see if he'll let me put him down. All right, we're going to see how long he lets me go without him. So, so Flipgrid is just a good way to get students' responses and get it in their own words, especially if you want some authentic information on how your students are doing. The maximum time they can record is you can set it from 30 seconds to a minute and a half. So if they're having a dance party in their living room and completely off topic because it's really cool to see myself in the webcam, it will cut them off. So that's one option. You would just click the share button, and it will give you a link that you can share with your students. And I'll share soon how I would put that all together and put it in a nice bow for your families. If you think that a lot of your students have internet capabilities or you would just like to offer the ones that can come, you can do live sessions in Google Hangouts, Zoom. I've even seen some teachers who are doing Facebook Lives for a story time or whatever it may be. So that's an option as well. I think that would just be you assessing what your needs are, what kind of device you have, what kind of device your families have. But all of those are free. So it just depends on, I would say, what fits your needs at that point, because they are pretty much the same capabilities. With Zoom, they have to log in, they have to download a little application on their computer. It's completely free, but then you can see your students as well, and they can see each other. So that's one reason that I like that program. I believe with Google Hangouts you can as well too. I've not used that as much. And then to just kind of simplify it all, I would suggest using Google Slides to house all of this. If you've got some kind of program within your school, obviously use what they're familiar with. Anything that the students are already familiar with, they're going to succeed more, especially when they're helping their parents help them facilitate it. But Google Slides is free. All you need is a Gmail account, and you can get one of those for free if you don't already have one. So what I would do if I was in this situation is I would just create a presentation, title it, Kindergarten eLearning Syllabus, and encourage your families to check back, to bookmark it, check back to it daily. You can share it with anyone who has the link, so that's always a nice feature. And then from there, I would just introduce them, this is Mrs. Davis's kindergarten. Please check here for daily assignments. I would even put a note that, please bookmark this on your computer or your phone. We're going to use this daily. And then you can kind of put, newsletters or updates. If you keep getting repeated questions about something that's very similar, you can even just put an update slide and answer those questions. I obviously don't have a lot of tips for you as far as managing your own children because this has been less than 15 minutes. But here's the big one. He didn't grow up. So after that, I would do an introduction page, let your families know that you miss them. If you want to even do a morning message daily, I think that that's your call. You know your community. If families are still working every day, that might be too much. Or if everybody's really overwhelmed or scared, maybe this is something you ease into once they get acclimated to e-learning. One thing that, and this is the thing that I have the hardest time with too, is don't forget pictures of yourself. They like to see your face. As adults, we tend to not always love how we look in pictures, but little ones don't care. Do you care what I look like in pictures?
Yeah.
Okay, well, maybe they do care. Okay, but you could just give instructions or a little morning message or, hey, I noticed a lot of people really struggled using this yesterday. Here's a tip I found, whatever you need. I mean, you know how to take care of your families. It's just going to be a matter of if you get 20, my rule is, and this is totally unofficial, you're being just as bad as Bub, leave my desk alone, is if I get 3 emails about the same question, then I assume that I've not explained it well and I send out something clarifying. So if you don't want to send out a bunch of emails to your families, maybe they're getting a lot from the school, then just add it as a slide. I also have been looking up all right, go back to the living room, please. I've been looking up local resources for food where they can go pick up drop-offs, no questions asked, and I'll put that update there too, just to make sure everybody's got it. And it's kind of everywhere because I'm feeling overwhelmed. I imagine my families are too. And then this is the main point of everything I've been rambling about, if you're still with me, is I would just put a date. And we're primary teachers, and we're extra. We just are. You guys, it does not need to be fancy. You don't need to spend hours picking the best font. I mean, if you enjoy that, because I enjoy that, then that's fine. But remember, when you're teaching little humans, they can get sensory overload. So if you're teaching a lesson, I've started making my lessons a lot more plain. I've been forgoing the fancy PowerPoint templates so that they're focusing on exactly what I want them to see. So if you need an excuse to give yourself to just make it a plain slide, sensory overload, visual overload is a good one. And it does not matter. It doesn't have to be perfect. It just needs to be done by Tuesday. And that's something that I've had to accept teaching virtually, and I think that that was one of my biggest hurdles. So I just made Monday, March 23rd. Here are your assignments. Watch this video. Boom, put a link for where you uploaded the video you made from PowerPoint on YouTube. So if today's packet is about subtraction or letter writing or whatever you've chosen, add a quick video about how to do that, a mini lesson. Or better yet, find someone else who's already made it and put it there too. Harry Kindergarten, wonderful. So it doesn't always have to be you. And yeah, sure, there's going to be times that it'll be nice to show your kiddos your face or deliver it based on what you've seen with your class. But you don't have to do that every day because it's going to get overwhelming. I would put today's question. Here's our Flipgrid. Here's a link to our Flipgrid question. I want to see all your faces, even if it's just to check in, and then complete blank. So that can be where you just remind them of what you put on your take-home calendar, what pages to complete in their packet. However your school set up the online learning, just put their assignments there too to streamline it. And then you can always put optional or bonus activities too. So optional, meet us at 1 o'clock for a live story time. If you know most of your kiddos don't have computers, we don't need to make that required, but let them know that you'll be here at Zoom. And then you can put the link right there below it and have it all on one page. And then one thing that I love to do with eLearning is a bonus, share a picture of you working. So if we worked on the popcorn word they, bonus, rainbow write the popcorn word they and send me a picture, or just send me a picture of where you're learning at home. You know, whatever you want to do to check in, and then you can just make a slide after that and share with the class. Here's how Emmett learned yesterday, and make a slide for everyone and just kind of share it with it as a class. That's a good way to build community online. Or they can write a letter to you and share a picture with it, and then you can respond. Just anything to make it as interactive and personal. I mean, think of how you have social media set up and make it so they can share their story too. So also in this bonus or optional area, you can share all of these resources. I know there are a ton of authors who are doing story times, our local library, children's museums doing live lessons for the day, and I'm overwhelmed by it, so maybe just put, here are some things in the community happening today, or just make a box that says optional activities for the day for those that want it, and they can pick and choose what they need. So that's basically my intro to it. I think if I was teaching online, this is how I would hands down organize my day and get it set up and just kind of streamline it for my family. So they have one place to check in, one place to find all the links, one place to find it. If you use Google Slides, you can update it live time. So if something comes up, you don't have it on there, you don't have to send an updated email, just put it on there for them and they can find it. And then tomorrow you can either delete today's slide and add a new one, or just put a new one and they know to just scroll down until they get to that day's slides, which would be nice too if they miss a day or something comes up. Then it's kind of just all warehoused there in this Google slide. And I'll go back really quickly. I didn't make this very large. I wish that PowerPoint would let me. Okay, it's not letting me go back for some reason. So you can share Google Slides. Really, you could just Google how to share a Google slide and get that link, and then just email that out to your families. So this says you can do this, but I didn't take my own advice about avoiding the corners. So what a great teachable moment. You can do this. See, even if it's not perfect, you can fix it in the moment, and really, that adds humor. So I wish you the best. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Alyssa. I have a Instagram account called Teacher Mom Life and a very unofficial blog that I'll put this on, and I'll try to put a copy of my sample syllabus on there too, so you can just copy and paste it and use it. So let me know if you have questions. I've been doing this for a while, and this is kind of something that's a little less intimidating to me, but it took years to get here. So your parents and your families, they're learning with you. So just be honest about the baby steps. Own up if you make a simple mistake, and do the best you can until you know better. So hope you found this useful. If not, you probably aren't watching anymore, and that's fine too. Have a good day and good luck, friends.